What's up, y'all? This is the Cutmaster Cool-V. Catch me every day, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on LL Cool J's Rock the Bells Radio with Roxanne Shante on the Have a Nice Day show. Tune in. Let's have some fun. And most of all, have a nice day. All right, y'all?
That's right. That is the legendary Cool-V that we are so happy to be sitting down with tonight. But my name is Sha Hayes, and to the left or right of me, whichever way you're sitting, is Keyana. And we are just so excited to sit down and talk with this legendary DJ who has scratched and done from Will Smith and Biz Markie and just all. When you think of a name in the industry, no, he's done it. He's the Cutmaster now. So when you think about music and putting it together, he's done it. He's originated it. He's put the whole origin behind what it looks like to cut up a song and make it a hit that it is today. So without further ado, let's bring in DJ Cool-V. And the crowd goes wild.
We definitely have to get the claps going in.
I know. Listen, we have written letters about them needing to get that sound effect in for sure. So we'll have it. But how are you this great evening?
I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. You ladies are beautiful. It's a beautiful situation. We live and we smile and we here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You know, I was like, you know, when you see someone and know their name through music and stuff, you never realize how much you go into trying to find out who they are as a person. And I was doing my little research before the show and looking at all the throwback pictures of you and seeing like a picture of you on an old school phone with the cord on the end, standing and talking. And I just wondered about the first time you fell in love with music. When was that?
Wow, very, very young. Music, I can remember, like, music is as it is for everybody, is the soundtrack of my life. So I can remember moments in my life where songs just take me right to that moment. So I could go back and say maybe like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow. Really?
I remember songs just playing on the radio. If I'm happy, if I'm sad, I can remember songs that were playing at that time.
What was, I guess, the first emotion of a song that you can remember? And do you remember what the song was?
The first emotion of a song, like I think my first song that I really, really liked, and I know y'all might laugh at me, was a stylistic song. It was
yes.
You are everything and everything is you. I just
But wait, now you gotta sing that a little bit of that down.
You are everything and everything is you. You know, hey, listen, my skills ain't good because I'm in a room right now, but I'm the best car singer in the world.
Right.
Nobody can beat me in the car. I don't care who it is.
I take a road trip with you. This over that. That's fine. So when you think about your love and for music and when that started and connecting to that emotion, when was it that you decided you wanted to find a career through music?
Oh, I never looked at music as a career. I still don't look at music as a career. I look at music as something that drives me every day in various ways. It keeps me sane. It keeps me grounded. It makes me feel good. Music really rarely makes me feel bad. It might make me feel sad because it makes me think about loved ones and other things. But music is just, my whole thing is set up about music. I told my mother at 13 I wasn't going to college. I was going to be a DJ.
Really?
Yeah, I told her that.
So you knew that young. Had there been any other passions that you had, or you had only had that focus at that young age?
No, I used to play sports. So football was my main passion. But all I kept hearing from everybody was I was too short and I was too skinny. But I was real good at it. And, like college scouts was looking at me when I was real young. So they would come to the games and would say, listen, when you get old enough, we want to, talk to these guys. Because I used to go to football camps and all of that. So, but I think football, other than football music, that was it. Because right after I used to come out of football practice, my father had put me into guitar school. But he wasn't living with us. But he made my mother take us to guitar school and have guitar lessons. So right after practice, I would be right in guitar school.
Really? So when you were younger, you had, because oftentimes people think that there isn't a musicality behind being a DJ. So you had an ear for music on another level, going and playing and learning an instrument.
Yes. Well, you know, I never really got great at the guitar, but I learned all the things about music. And my uncles were DJs. My father was a DJ. So I always was around the latest music coming out and putting music together. I was always around that. So when I did my first party, I bought a record called Bootzilla. It was in 1978. I bought a record called Bootzilla. That was my first record I bought with my own money. I didn't have enough to do the full party. So I borrowed records from my man in the next court in the projects, Ricky Murray, and I borrowed those records, and I did that party. Now I wasn't a DJ, but I did the party, and that's what gave me the bug, because my party was live in my house, man. We had it in the living room, and I was just playing records, and I was going between the 8-track tapes and the records that I had, and it was a nice party. Everybody had a good time, and I told my mother, right, you know, not that day. But I said, I got to get more records, because I had to borrow records. And I didn't like borrowing from people, but my people did let me borrow their records. And I always thank them. Every time I see them to this day, I be like, man, you know, them records, man, you know, when you let me those records, it just inspired me, man.
Yeah.
It inspired me.
And so I guess that was like the red light party. The lights were down and you had to like really transform that room, because that kind of thing, the DJ set the tone. Like that was just it. Like you were the one who created whether that party was gonna be good or bad.
Yeah, but it was my birthday party, so it was gonna be good anyway, because everybody was there to eat and have some fun and listen to music, and we did that. So that was my 11th birthday party. Yeah.
Wow. So you now have this moment of like you said, catching the bug. Yeah. What then at that point did you say, okay, how do I now transform this so that I'm doing this and maybe, if lucky enough, get paid to do it?
Still, I never thought about that. I just knew I wanted to do that. My uncles and them looked so cool when they did it, and they had big crowds, and my uncle had, you know, rappers rapping for him and all of the trinkets. He had the full thing. He had a sound system. I didn't have a sound system. I just had a hi-fi in my house and an 8-track. And then in 1979, when my father came back and moved back with us, he had the turntable. So I would sit there and play all the time. And then when he would go out and DJ, I would DJ with him. And then I started DJing for him. And then,
really, wow.
Yeah, then it just blossomed into a whole nother thing.
So would you say your father was your earliest inspiration?
Yeah, probably, because the records I was playing in the house, he bought them. And the hi-fi that I had, even though he wasn't living with us at the time, the hi-fi that I had, he bought it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the initial point of me having that love for music, because I always had music in the house. We had the tray of 45. They used to come in this little stack, and you would slip them in the stack, you know. So we had that, and we had the 8-track tapes, and I had the 8-track tape player. So, yeah.
So besides your father, I guess who was, an initial mentor or someone who guided you from that point?
It would have to be my uncle then, my uncle DJ Pearl, and my other uncle DJ Fantasy, but you know, Uncle Donald Ray. So those are the two guys that I would go to their house, and they would have all the records on the floor. They'd be playing. My other uncle had a big Sansui amp that he had from overseas when he came back, and it was just a big power receiver. And then my uncle Dougie had all the speakers, the EVs and everything, and that was just that was inspiring for me, and I wanted that. That's what I wanted.
You wanted all of that. So after you have gotten the bartering down of getting music, you got crates and crates and crates of music. When was the first time you DJ'd and somebody actually put money in your hand and said, you're going to get paid for this?
Woo. Probably about 1984. I probably started getting paid, like for me to get paid. Yeah, probably around that time, because I was doing it with my father and he wouldn't pay me. He was like, I pay you every day. You wake up, you eat, you don't pay for nowhere to stay. And as I was getting older, that didn't work no more. So I had to get my own equipment. So, you know, I did what I had to do, got my own equipment. And in like 1984, I was getting paid real money. Like I was getting paid before that, but it wasn't nothing real. You know, I was DJing with my crews and all of that, and we would split a couple dollars. And my man, he would do the, you know, how much money you gonna get? You're charging 50 cents at the door.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
You know, it wasn't no real money. But in 84, from 1983, maybe 83. But I'm gonna say definitely 84. But I was getting paid in 83 too. But 84. Since 84, I haven't looked back. Nobody has paid me unreal.
Right. No one's paid you right since that point of time. not paid you for that matter. So
Yeah.
I guess bring us to the part of when I guess the friendship or partnership began between you and Biz, and how did that start or begin?
That's in Long Island. That's my family. That's like I said, my family's from Long Island. So going out to Long Island and everything, it was a easy transition because my uncle was the big DJ out there, one of them, and it was other big DJs, but they had younger crews. My uncle didn't have a younger crew. He had a semi-younger crew, but they were older than the younger cats. You know what I'm saying? So we always used to try to get on my uncle's set. Biz always tried to get on. I try to get on. My uncle say, we ain't ready yet. So my sister Sharon had came to me one day and said, you and Biz should do this, do it big. Like, y'all should try to make records. I wasn't thinking about making records. So Biz, that was his thing. So one day in the park, I took the equipment out to the park out in Long Island, and Biz showed up late, but I had already had the park in command or whatever. And he came out there and he said, yo, they was trying to get me to battle you. I told them you was my family. I said, look, you better be glad you ain't come out and battle today, baby. I put some heat on them out here. So I had some MCs with me or whatever. And Biz got in the car. He said, yo, I'm coming back to Jersey with you. And he never looked back. He came back to Jersey, and, the rest is history.
Wow. So then from there, I guess in terms of the making the music part, and I guess when you think about a lot of times when DJs are there and the conception of music, they're kind of like in the background, not in the foreground, but you played an instrumental part in creating the sound that we have, like you said, to some people has been a soundtrack for their life. How did that come about? And like with the Biz Never Sleeps, how did that come about? You all creating and being a part of that together?
Well, the Biz Never Sleeps came about because we had just did Going Off, and it did so well for us that Biz wanted us to do our own album. He didn't want to record with Marley no more. So he said, and I learned a lot from him. When he said he didn't want to record with Marley, I said, damn, but who we going to record with? He said, us. So I started working on the album, and the rest is history. From there, I met a lot of people along the way. We had new people from the first album traveling around the country and traveling overseas. And then, we made that second album, and it was just a wonderful experience for us. And, we got the biggest record out of our career out of that album. So it was definitely us showing the world that we can make it happen.
So one of the things you were saying earlier on in your, I guess, time with Biz, people were saying about battling. I was thinking about on my ride here about, we've seen the Versus brand go up about music artists. If you as a DJ had to go up against someone else as a DJ in the Versus battle, who would that be and why?
I wouldn't put myself against any DJ in a Versus battle because it's just, I don't look at other DJs as my competition. I have never looked that way. I have never did that. We used to do the battling back in the day, but I was never really a battle DJ, but I was always ready to battle. So I learned a little bit of everything. So I'm every kind of DJ. That's why I don't fit myself in pigeonhole me into a genre. I'm not just a hip hop DJ. I'm a DJ because I came out playing dance music way before I came out playing hip hop, or what they call hip hop, rap music and whatever. So I got different angles of where I do what I do, but battling is about the impact, what you could do in 2 or 3 minutes. I feel that I got way more than 2 or 3 minutes to offer because 2 or 3 minutes, I could just probably get into it. Now, some of my friends, they are great at that, getting into 2 or 3 minutes. They get it in. And I would be remote. I got to mention their names. So I don't want to say the wrong words out here and say, look, be counterproductive, right? Like a guy like DJ Scratch, I feel is one of the greatest DJs of our era because he can come in hot. He could come in at 100 miles an hour and go and bring it there. And another one is Cash Money, is a close friend of mine. Both of these guys are close friends of mine, and I admire them. They're my peers. But I'm also a fan of their work, the way they do it. And the Cash Money is just like one of the funkiest DJs alive. Like the way he thinks it in and brings it in. And I always have to mention those guys because every time I see them, they inspire me to be different. I'm like, man. Look, you see him do something, you go, that shit.
I should have thought of that first.
Yeah, and that's the way I am. I remember a long time ago, not to get off the subject because I told you I get to rambling, but
No, I love it.
it made me think of something like when I heard Large Professor produce Just Hanging Out, and it was so dope to me. And Large Professor's from Main Source, and I've known him for a while, but when he came out with that record Just Hanging Out, it just moved me in a way. And I'm sitting in my house looking through records one day, and I'm because you got to go through your records every so often. And I played a damn record, and it's this joint that he sampled, and I'm like, I had that. Oh man, and I didn't. I'm so mad at myself because I had the record. I didn't just buy it. I've been had it, but I just didn't know that. I didn't jump on it, and he jumped on that record in a way where I always say, like, that's one of my favorite records, man. It just got a feeling to it.
And so go ahead, Key.
I have a question. What was the how did you feel when you first hit the stage to DJ? The very first time?
The stage? Well, till this day, I get butterflies when I go on the stage. But once the beat drop, it's all it's another day at the office. It's not really so. I mean, I don't know if I had to share this with everybody, but I got some real moments in my book, The Symphony. Y'all can get that at djcoolv.com. But you'll compare this moment to a moment in that book. So every time I go on stage, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go.
That's some bubble gum.
Yeah. I gotta go to the bathroom before I go on stage because I got to be at ease. I don't like to feel that way while I'm on stage. I got to be at ease. And to this day, every time before I go on stage, I gotta go to the dressing room, go to the bathroom.
That's a normal feeling. Well, since you mentioned the symphony, I was looking at I guess this is an excerpt from the book, and I was kind of like in awe of what the words stated on this page. And it said, "We are bred to survive in only a fraudulent space where critical reflection is criminal. True love is poisonous, repellent, and therapy is a death sentence. Sincerity becomes foreign in our existence, so uncomfortable we struggle with acceptance. The barracuda in us celebrates bondage, has reservations about adulation, and no knowledge of how to receive a gift. We are socialized to view one another as disposable and to forget. Erase your memories because they have no value unless acknowledged by the dominant society, but I refuse." What were you in your mind and thinking in terms about that and how it compelled you to write those words?
Well, I have a writer. His name is Lucio Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
and he is masterful with bringing my thoughts to the paper along with his thoughts to the paper. And we will go over that and all of that in there. When he wrote that part right there, it was the summation of my life because I didn't know how to, express myself. I didn't know how to accept help. I didn't know how to reach out. I didn't know how to accept like somebody giving you an accolade. Nothing. I didn't know how to do it. I'm talking to you, and I'm 50 plus. So when I talked to him, it was like therapy because I was getting my thoughts out, and I talked about things that I had never talked about with anyone since they happened. Because a lot of stuff you take in your mind and you push it back, and we forced to be these people out here that we you can't even show your sensitive side. You can't show your humble side. You can't show everything. Got to be tough. Everything got to be no tears. Everything got to be like you got to hold this facade up, and it's not who we are. We are a loving people, but we have forgot how to love. So that's what, when he wrote those words, it moved me in a way. I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. Because he's the one that actually talked me into even trying to make a book because I just didn't think my life was worth it. I didn't think all the stuff that I did, I paid more attention to it after we got together and started talking about what could I write about. And then I started saying, damn, I did that. I forgot about it. And I forgot about that. And I forgot about that. And then I started thinking about situations, and I was thinking about things that was happening in my life. And it all came together. And that's where his mastery is, because not only did he put the words together, he put my life in a way where I could appreciate my own life. I didn't appreciate my life. I'm just being honest with you. I just didn't think that I have done enough. I was always out to prove something. I was always out to try to get on to the next bag, get on to the next hustle, get on to the next party, get on to the next, and I'm leaving so much damage behind me.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was messed up. And I really, right now, I'm just trying to right the wrongs and talk to people and talk to kids and try to make them understand that, man, if you're a little sensitive, it's nothing wrong with it. It's a lot of sensitivity going right now, and I understand it. Don't be afraid to share your emotions, man, or show your emotions, or try to talk about things before it gets to the point where you want to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Talk about it, you know, and if you still feel that way and that's the way you want to do it, do it. I've been there too. So I can't preach to nobody about rights and wrongs. What I can say is I've done some wrongs, and I hope you wouldn't do the same if I told you that there's another way to do it. You know, that's it. But I really love talking to young kids and telling them my experiences now. And because of those words like that, they are my experience, and I can really embrace myself. I've never promoted myself in my life. Never tried to. And, you know, it was always about, you know, I figured if everybody knew Biz, they knew me.
Yeah.
And it's not that way. And I always put everything into, you know, I take the back road. I take the back. I take my money on the back end. I take this on the back end. And in the words of the famous Roxanne Shante, the queen of the Juice Crew, she told me, B, if you keep taking it in the back, your ass gonna get fat. So I don't take money on the back end like that as much as I used to. You know,
got it. Completely got it.
Yeah. Because I would always say, yo, I'll get mine when we get more.
Yeah.
And now that's not the way business goes. Business,
absolutely.
And I've never conducted real business till lately in my life. These books are the first thing that I've owned and I've sold about me ever.
So what is something you felt about yourself that, well, I guess as a DJ, we don't get to see the personality as you would as a performer. What do you think is something that you think is a misconception about yourself that often don't get to be portrayed when people think about DJing and getting the bag and just being there trying to make the business of being a DJ?
The DJ often gets left out. They often get looked over. They often get, people don't think about the DJ as the important part. When you give a party, if your DJ is whack, your party is whack. When you give a wedding, if your reception is whack, your DJ, if your DJ is whack, your reception is whack. So we make the world have a good time, but the world doesn't repay us with the money most of the time or the acknowledgement in bigger situations, in business situations. So if I got a rapper, they're more interested in what the rapper has to say because he's the one on the microphone all the time. You know, we could have wrote the record together. We could have produced the record together. We did everything together, but they don't see that. You're just the back guy. You're the disposable entity. So now, these days, you don't even know the DJ from groups because the DJ is not the guy in the front. So most groups don't even have a DJ now. They just play the music. They have a band or whatever they do. And it's nothing wrong with that either. But for the DJ to be the backbone of this wave, we have named hip hop, but it's just rap music. It's in the business is rap music. So the backbone to that is the DJ, because the DJ had the equipment. The DJ had everything at the party for everybody to get on. And then when everybody gets on, that DJ ain't part of the deal, know, and that's not the way it's supposed to go. But, it is what it is. And I speak up for DJs. I love the DJs. The female DJs don't get enough credit. It's just it's a crazy, crazy business. The music business, if you can handle the downs, the ups are incredible.
Yeah.
Most people can't get past the downs, and that's why they don't have long sustaining careers. And it can be real mentally draining, and it can make you feel certain type of ways and just leave it alone. Like the music business, I had left alone for a little while. but I never left music alone. I'm always
Right.
a DJ, and I stand on that. And luckily, during the pandemic, I'm on Rock the Bells radio, baby.
That's right. Still working. Still collecting a check. Getting a bag.
It's just more than a bag, because now I get to interact with a lot of fans and people that haven't been able to touch me. And I'm on shows like yours, and I'm talking. People didn't hear me talk back in the day because I didn't do much of it. I rarely talked. I started talking maybe in 2015. Maybe I did my first interview maybe 2015, 2014. You didn't see any interviews on the internet with me in it. Unless it was D would pump it up and Biz was doing most of the talking. I'll be standing in the back.
Right.
Never a Cool-V interview.
Yeah, because like you said, is always the background. They don't think about the consideration of the team effort that goes into the performance side of it. So when you think about like how, I guess, and since DJing has gotten a little easier because you're not carrying crates around and you have the digital aspect of it, but what would you think are still some of the challenges and still being a DJ, even though you have the technology supporting it?
I gotta think. I gotta really think. I mean, the technology is cool. I mean, let's get back to that. I want that real, real authentic, and get all of that meat right off the bone.
Well, let me ask it this way then. You have done a lot of high profile parties and events, and everyone, music is music. How do you go into preparing for, whether it's a high profile event or just a wedding or party? How do you make sure that you're going to have the best outcome of that event?
Preparation. Call the people, talk to them, ask them what they want, how they want it, when they want it to happen. And then let me do me. I do me better than anybody could ever imagine. So let me do you within whatever you want me to do. And then I'll do me all the way, all in the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we're going to all be all right, because I can read the crowd.
Right.
I'm not worried about that. That's where my strong points are.
And when being in legendary status and being the person who is, one of the original Cutmasters, what does it take to be that? How do you get to that level? Because you can't just call yourself a Cutmaster. How do you get to that point where you can say that?
Well, I called myself a Cutmaster basically in the beginning, and I had to live up to it. But I called myself a Cutmaster because you had the mix masters, you had this, you had you had the jam masters, you had everything. Everybody was a master, the Grand Master. And Flash was one of my idols. So you had Grandmaster Flash, Jam Master J. Then you had and actually. When I named myself Cutmaster Cool-V, I didn't even know there was another Cutmaster around, and that was Cutmaster DC. But I met him, and we kicked it off, man. And we always been cool and everything, So I was like, wow, because it ain't that original, but I didn't never know another Cutmaster. But when I met DC, he was already older than me and everything. So, like he's the OG on the Cutmaster sides, and this is the first time I'm ever saying it, because nobody has ever asked me about it, naming and all of that. But as we grew into to who we were, I just knew I had to be able to cut real, because I came up around DJ Cheese, and he's King Cut.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, I'm the Cutmaster. That's King Cut. Hey, Jersey in the building.
but I love that though, because a lot of times, even calling yourself the greatest rapper, the boxer, even if you haven't esteemed yourself to that level, you are accepting that, because it's like speaking affirmations in your life. You're basically saying, I'm going to be the greatest. I'm going to be the best. It won't be, like you even said earlier, it would never be about a battle, because you don't compare yourself, because you've always looked at yourself in a different level. And that's not a bad thing to look. Some people may consider it or call it arrogance, but that's great that you have always felt that way about yourself.
Always. I always felt that I could get on after any DJ in the world. Just me. I don't look at another DJ as competition. I look like, if you doing your thing, DJs know me. I tell them, man, you toe that shit Up. You know what I mean? And listen, if they say, Cool-V, you up next, I'm gonna go up there and tear that shit up too. I'm not gonna be you crazy. No, it's not gonna happen. But
Right.
at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And if we don't stick together, who's gonna stick up for us anyway?
Yeah.
And friendly battles are cool. That's cool. I love the verses with the singing and all that, but the crowd doesn't take it as a celebration. They're taking it as a battle.
Yeah.
And they're looking at like who's the best and who's the greatest. And when it's all just a celebration of us, and we get caught up in these terms and terminology, versus means did me against you. So that's the way the crowd going to look at it. But that's a celebration, and it's a beautiful platform for you to see some of your classic artists get up there and play music with another classic artist, and you just reminisce about the music that changed your life or was the soundtrack to your life. And that's a beautiful thing. But I don't look at it like a battle. But I'm different. So a lot of people that come to me, yo, who you think won the battle? And I was like, hey, this one looked good on there, but the records stand up alone.
Yeah.
You know, the records, the music is the winner.
That's true. Because that's true. Because even when I think about watching even those moments of the ones I've aired already, I always say, to me, I transform myself back to the time I've ever heard those songs, and that's all I care about. Is that moment of just being in that space of like, oh, I remember that song. Oh, I remember what I was doing. I heard that song. So to me, that's all it's about when it comes down to listening music and then listen to artists who they're down battling each other.
You think Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight gonna battle each other?
Exactly.
They got too much class, too much music, and we are the people, right? And we let this music business take us in places where we don't need to be, because we don't need to compare music. Your music is uncomparable. If I make music, that's why people are afraid to take a chance now. They want to make safe music and sound like what's out. And I don't knock for that, because the music business requires you to do that if you want to be successful in the business. But if you were being an artist, you should always try to push the level and push the envelope and try to be different, because that's what's going to sustain you in longevity. The music business doesn't care about you being around for a long time, because they only have a 5-year contract with you, a 3-year contract with you. They trying to get all the gas out the tank.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to re-sign you, they don't have to. But then they try to hold you with an option, and it's just a crazy business. But, as we go forth, I have no ill feelings about the business in general, because it helped me to be right where I'm at right now. So it's always the good, the bad, the yin, the yang. And when I see artists like Busta put out an album in 2021, and still pushing the envelope, trying to be different and succeeding at it. That's the inspiration that I love to see. I love to see Nas getting a Grammy right now. All that great music he done put out. All that. See, and we wait for these accolades to define who we are. No. Nas is Grammy material the whole way out, from the first all the way out. But, luckily he got that Grammy. We're going to celebrate that and do what we have to do and push everybody to hopefully win a Grammy at some point of their career. It's a wonderful experience, because everybody don't get it. I don't have a Grammy, so I can't tell you how it feels to have one, but I don't think that should define who's who. You know what I'm saying? Nas is Grammy material regardless. He's one of the greatest that ever did it. What took the Grammy committee so late?
Yeah, and that's so true.
That's what I'm looking at. You know what I mean? I'm not looking at it like everybody else is looking at it. I'm looking at it from the time he stepped on that Illmatic album. That's classic. Listen, you should have gave him all the Grammys that day.
Yeah. but as we all know, like those kind of things become the politics of the business, as opposed to the actual real, meat and potatoes of what it really comes down to, music being music. But we get caught up in it because it makes people believe you're great because you have an award attached to your name. You can now say Grammy Award winning such and such, or Oscar winning such and such.
And that's why I applaud everybody that wins one. I applaud all of y'all. I applaud every Grammy winner ever got one. You know what I'm saying? But we can't look down on the people that didn't get one. We can't look down on the people that music is life changing, that saved lives, and people that got on the front line with music needed to be out there. You know what I mean? Like that word, that voice needed to be there. Sometimes they're not going to get the accolades, but we got to sustain those artists' careers and go repurchase their music or support them when they come live somewhere and make them know that they're loved, man. We got to put love back in the community. That's what I'm Put it back in the community. We done did all the bad stuff. Let's do some good stuff now and stop criticizing the young generation. We all messed up when we was young. Listen, they time to mess up and they got their time to get it right, but they got a whole lot of money to get it right with. Big shout to all the young artists coming up here. I'm with it.
You're like, I'm with all of that.
With all of
that. but that is, it truly is the evolution of how we think about times of like, you know, our parents, and everybody else how they listen to music till now we get it. Because, you know, you had to actually go to a store to get new albums or get music, unless it came on the radio. Now you can pick up your phone and whatever song you want to hear, you know, it's right there on your phone. So like when you think about like even music that's mainstream, how do independent artists, knowing the experience you've had and being in the music business, how is an independent artist who may say, I want to be known or recognized or signed, how would you, I guess, advise them in terms of being able to get to that next level in their career?
Stay humble, stay on your grind, stay in the studio, put good people around you, not just your friends, people that know music, people that know the business, people that have your best interests at heart, because a lot of those times, all of those don't fall under the same category.
Yeah.
You find it in one person. So if you got your good business person, you still got to have your person that got your best interests at heart to watch the business person. And then you got to have somebody around you that knows what's hot and what's not in the studio. You can't have yes men when you're in there making, because a lot of times you get a dead ear and you in there and the kick is hitting real hard and you banging your head, yeah, and then you get the next day, you be like, I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
So you got to have a good team around you to say, hey, that ain't it, man. We know you got extra bars to put on that, or we got to change the beat up. You know, you outshining the beat. So, you know, you got to have that around, man. And it's just a beautiful situation. Now, making music and making art is the wonderful part of this whole thing. And we have to, that's what I tell younger cats. I really just say, listen, be an artist. But you still have to be aware of all of those things that I just mentioned. But be an artist. Don't never try everything that you wanted to try, even if it sound whack. Just try it just to see how it sound when you play it back. Because just because you thought it was whack today don't mean everybody gonna think it's whack, and you might not think it's whack next week.
That's so true. And that's the thing about it. You hear people say when they first heard a song, I didn't like that, and they gave it to somebody else, and then that song became a hit.
Because we trying to sometimes prove to something to the people that's around us in the studio, and you know they ain't feeling it. So now you got a downside on it. I've been in the studio and people wasn't feeling it. I say, hey, we put it out anyway. So hey, whatever you're doing, look and see. That's where, you know, I think my strong point is, because I know I'm a DJ. So when we're making music, I know what I'm gonna play at the party. I know what I'm gonna play in the car, because I'm one of the greatest car singers ever. So I know what I want to sing in the car. Yo, I can sing that in the car, or I can rap that, you know, and that's what it is. You got to know what's for what. Everything ain't for the club. Everything ain't for the car. Something is for, you know, you just chilling with your lady. This the music for different kind of situations. And you should be, as an artist, put that out. I mean, not put it out in a way where you're not satisfied with it or it ain't finished, but put it out of you. Put it out of you. Put it on the tape. That way you have it, record it, finish it. Then you might not put it out now. Years later, you come back to it. I forgot about records. I'm telling you right now, artists that came to me, you know, big shout to Daddy Kane. I did a lot of tracks for her back in the day. We never released them.
Wow.
One day she comes to the studio and she playing the track. And I say, yo, who did that for you? That's dope. She said, V, you did that. I said, oh, I forgot about it, because at one point I was just in the studio all the time. So I was just making so much stuff that I didn't, you know, really appreciate it like it should have been appreciated. But I knew what I was doing at that time. But as time went on, we didn't put the record out. So I forgot all about the record.
And talking about that in terms of like you were saying about earlier about sampling music, I know there was a time where, there was criticism about rappers or just, artists in general sampling songs. What is your guest thought behind that, and how to guess really give, I guess appreciation to a song when you decide to sample it?
Well, sampling is an art, and anybody that samples real well, I applaud them, because we turn records around, we loop records, we just do it for what it's worth. Certain records ain't to be touched. You loop it up and you do what you do to it. And now that people understand what it is, they say, "Oh, I get it now." We came at an experimental time in the music business where they thought of it as stealing or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe. And I never sampled a record not to give anybody credit. I sampled the record because it was the best record for the mood that we were trying to present. So we looking up all these records, Biz, he knows what he want to rhyme to. So I got to make some stuff basically about how he rhymes. So sometimes he'd be like, "No, just leave the loop alone. We want to chop it up and disguise it." Sometimes he said, "No, just leave it like that." So we just leave it like that.
Yeah.
And we left it like that one too many times.
And there they come knocking.
But the time that we left it, it was so obvious. We wasn't hiding it.
Yeah.
It was actually a remake in rap form. It was the same hook, everything. We did the hook, and that was the first time we ever did that. No, I can't say that's the first time, because we did She's Not Just Another Woman. But other than that, that's the time where we said, "Yo, we gonna do this record right here," because we just love the record, and we end up getting sued for it.
And that's amazing, because there is like legalities going into that, thinking about that, but you don't realize that because you're in the midst of like crafting something, so you're kind of focusing on the music art and not thinking about but there may be a legal ramifications to that. Well, knowing that, what advice would you give someone who is trying to create and like in the studio trying to craft something, in terms of what you learned from that experience?
Go with your feeling, do it, and then send the credits to whoever need the credits, and buy whatever sample rights you need to buy. Pay them for their whatever it is, and that's the way you handle it, because sometimes you need that kick that came from 1962. You need it. You need that bass line from 1970. You need it. And it keeps music alive and living. You know what I mean? It makes the artists from back then look at the music of, hey, if you don't like that, that's your bass line. It's a hit right now. It's coming back. That's your keyboards. That's your backgrounds. That's your, everything, man. Sampling is a beauty. It's a beauty to it. And people that do it well, you see what comes out. Big shout to everybody that samples records. I mean, I came into business sampling, so I can't knock nobody about sampling, but I would say just clear your samples.
Yeah, clear your samples. Because it happens in the music industry where people thinking, "Oh, I'm only," because people don't understand there's a portion of it you can use, or what you can't do, and that's education about learning what you can't do when you are sampling music. So that's definitely, there may be like a school, or if it's on YouTube University, about understanding that, because then that's when it becomes that issue.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the great. I mean, and just go for some high end, right? You got Super Freak by Rick James.
Yeah,
Can't Touch This by Hammer. It's the sample, but Hammer gave that record new legs, and it just went. And he dancing with the legs, and the legs off with the leg. Man, can't touch it. Man, listen, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's showing homage to the previous generation.
And that's the biggest thing. I think that's the most important thing when the criticisms came about. I'm like, to me, that's about appreciation more than it is about copying or stealing or taking away from that.
Yeah.
So. But let me ask you the question about, in terms of like, you have such knowledge about the business in a whole. Have you ever thought about making it or doing it from either a judging standpoint on the show, or creating it where I almost feel like you could be the professor in a college course teaching the music business side of this?
well, I can't be the professor. Well, no, let me say I can't, because that ain't the word we supposed to be speaking when we speak in positivity.
That's right.
We let these words kill us out here.
Come on, don't
look,
stay
rewind
down.
I ain't say that. Now, listen, I do teach.
Okay.
I'm a teaching artist at New Jersey Performing Arts Center. So
Okay.
I teach kids, on the college level, they're looking for more of the intellect of it, right? And a lot of people are stuck in their ways already. See, it's better to teach the babies, because the babies, they remember. And even when they don't, act like they listening, as they go on, they know somebody told them what to do. And they know that I'm being sincere, because kids got that, they know if they messing with you or not. People can disguise and all of that. And I don't have no problem with going to talk places and tell people about my experiences, because if that can help you, that's what we're going to do. But, I'd rather teach the babies, man, because they're the sponges. They absorbing it in. But, hey, send me to the college. Tell them call me.
Go on, tell them call you. NJCU or somebody.
Tell them
You never know. You never know.
I've spoken at college situations, but I wasn't the main speaker. But, it was never about sampling in the music business. It was, about basically a panel, whatever that discussion was for that day. And, we handled it. I remember we did it out in Ohio one time. Big shout out to my man if she chill out there. We was up at the college, and we did some talking to the students. So like I said, I can't say I can't. I will.
You will. The phone come ringing. Listen, from this show, people have literally got donations of money, job offers. You never know. Like somebody at some schools, like, that's a good idea to come up with a, DJ music business program. And that's all it takes. That literally is all it takes. So you never know.
Yeah. Like when I'm teaching the kids, I teach them like I teach a DJ class, and they be calling it Hip Hop 101.
Really?
But what I teach, I tell them, listen, I'm not just teaching you how to DJ. I'm teaching you how to apply it to your life. I'm teaching you life skills with the DJing. So I'm going to show you how to keep a beat and do all of that. And even if you don't want to be a DJ, you'll know when you hear a bad one. Because you're going to learn all the fundamentals about what a DJ should do and how to keep a beat on beat and how to move records and mix records with each other and, do the various things with the controllers and all that. And I teach them how to DJ on turntables too, even though that's obsolete right now, not for my generation, but for the younger generation. Me bringing a big turntable out when they have all these machines is, that's counterproductive. So I teach them things. I say this machine came from this setup. And then I show them how to DJ on the setup with the turntables, but I teach them on the stuff that they're going to buy in their time. And their mother could buy the whole thing for how much money. And then I'll give them the records to start up with. And that's how they do it. And they love it.
So you say you're teaching them life skills. Yes. What would you say about DJing is a skill that you think that translate into life, everyday life?
Being patient. Looking at your surroundings. How can you read a party if you ain't looking at the people and seeing what they reacting to? So you got to be able to, look around, see what they reacted to. It's easy to play all the hits, but what happens when you run out of them? How you fit the other records in now, because you ain't playing them because you only want to play the hits. You got to learn the whole thing. You got to learn all of these records, and I show them I'll put the records in the crate and I'll let them play them records. Then they say, I don't want that record. I want this record. Nah, but make that record go with some of that. And sometimes they come up with some mixes. Man, one of my students came up with a mix one day. I said, I would have never thought about putting those together. And it sounded good. And I said, look at you.
Yeah.
That's you. That's your interpretation of what you're hearing. I didn't even hear that. Wow. I put the records, and he put this record with that record. And he said, yo, can I tape it? I said, man, tape it. I said, listen, it sounds good. I said, look, I might think about doing it at a party. I said, nah, I ain't going to take your stuff.
Listen, I do stand up. People take my jokes all the time. So go ahead. No,
I don't take stuff from the kids, man. Listen, you had that. That's yours. And if I'm gonna use it, I'm gonna say this is one of my students' mix.
There you go.
And they get busy. And I've taught them from young all the way up, man, to high school, man. So it's all right. I love teaching kids, and I didn't even know that I had that love in me, but I guess I've been doing it all my life. My father told me, rest in peace, before he passed away. I said, who would have thought they would pay me to show kids how to DJ? I would do that for free, right? And he said, I would. I said, why you say that? He said, you've been teaching people stuff all your life. You've been taking care of people all your life. And I said, man, you never told me that though. He said, hey. and that was the gist of the conversation. But it made me think that he saw something that I never saw, because I always did teach people how to do things.
But I just love that your father, literally, his wisdom was, hey.
And my father was straight up like that, like, hey.
It was almost like he was like, I knew it. I wasn't gonna tell you, but hey.
Let you figure it out.
I love that. I love that part about that. But if you thought about just in terms of your overall inspirations in life, from your uncles to your father and all the wisdom you gained over the years, what is like your guest takeaway from all of that from them?
My takeaway is that we could do this till we leave this earth. My uncle is still DJing right now. One of my uncles, the other one passed away last year, and my other uncle is still DJing right now. He getting just as many parties as anybody out here, and he's out there in Long Island still DJing. And we always knew in my family, we say, hey, listen, you're gonna be able to do this till you're older. It don't matter till you want to stop. And I don't think I'm never going to want to stop touching the turntables, playing music, making people happy with music, because that's how I used to speak. I never talked. So I talked with my music. So I would make people feel kinds of ways, and they'd be like, yo, give me a copy of that. And that's what made me feel good. That brought me joy, that they came to me to get a tape or CD or whatever it is. You know, I never really made CDs. I was making cassettes. Tracks and cassettes.
That's right. And that's the one thing about DJs, where you may not get the credit in terms of the performance aspect of it, but you could do it forever. You know, Chris Brown ain't gonna be twirling and dancing and doing splits in his 80s. You could be 80 years old, still, you know, rocking it out there. So that's a great part about it, is there's way more sustainability and longevity in that than you would think as a performer. Not saying you can't sing, but you can't do no backflips.
But listen, he could show the younger kids how to do the backflips and show them move around that stage, because ain't many can move like Chris Brown and get it down. You know what I mean? Listen, big shout out. Listen, like it's so much wonderful music and artists out here right now, and I don't see why everybody's trying to put everybody against each other and people mad about this and mad about that. Man, just let it all. It's an internet out here that everybody can live on. And get their music out, and people blocking the streams and stuff. Man, come on, man. What is it?
It is sad, because I think about like, even like when we always talk about the support of the show, and we always say that there's room for everyone. You know, technology has advanced so that everyone can have a space. You know, before it was like a limited amount of places you people can hear and see you, but now there's space for everyone. Like, you know, everyone can get it. Like I always say, other genres don't beef like they do in our genre, but we create this kind of thing where everything has to be a competition. And I guess to some degree, it can be healthy, because it is some sense of origin of how hip hop began. But then it's like, why do we now create that to the point where we're not in support of each other, though?
Well, back to those words in the book. We have to change our way of thinking, and then the next generations will change theirs. You got to understand, everything comes more as it goes. So, you know, if we do this way, and then we start talking, you ain't doing this and you ain't doing that, how can you be positive about what they're doing when you're being so, you know, overcritical of their time? It's their time. Chalk it up. It's their time. You still can make music. Don't never stop making music. But you can't tell a young person how to make music that their peers like what they're doing.
Yes.
It can be changed. But the feeling is still the feeling. That energy is still the energy. Let them have their moment, their energy, and then tell them, listen, you should write a record about this. Maybe they'll do that one record, because I tell them that one record is the one that's going to stick out, because while everybody's doing the same thing, you got to find different topics. And even if you find the same topic, talk about it in a different way. Talk about it in the third person. Talk about it as something else, another object. Talk about, let your mind just expand, because music is art. We done let music be life. Now, people trying to live up to the records. Just because you said you did something on the record don't mean that everybody think you done it in real life. I mean, maybe somebody did, but not me. You know what I mean? So I'm listening to the artistry. So I'm not listening to what you're saying in a negative way, like somebody else that's, yeah, well, he ain't all that, they ain't all that. Why are you sitting around worrying about what somebody else think they is?
That's true.
Tell the world who you are.
Tell them who you are. I love that. Tell them who you are.
Yeah.
So everything you have accomplished, I know you still must have things you want to do in life. What is your plan for yourself in your future, and what are some of your goals you want to achieve?
Well, I'm actually about to release another book, and that's going to be the Symphony 2. It's called a remix.
Okay.
You know, and my man Lucio Dutch said it's going to be the better than the first one. And I said, I don't know, man. That first one was so incredible because it moved me. You know what I'm saying? Like, my stories moved me, not in a way of I'm amazed at my stories. I got a chance to let people know that I love them while they're here. Some of them ain't here no more. You know, so it's 3 people in the book that wasn't here no more that I wrote about. But for the most part, everybody's living. So I'm giving them their flowers because it ain't all about me. It's a lot about my relationships with a lot of other people that make me who I am. I'm not ashamed to say that. So at the same time, I get a chance to tell Dougie Fresh how I feel about him. Of course, the Juice Crew, you know, Biz, Shantae, Kane, Shan, you know, G-Rap, you know, everybody, you know what I'm saying? But I also get a chance to tell other people. So in this symphony, it's a whole new cast. It's a whole nother, you know, more situations because I got a lot in my brain. And if I leave the world, if I leave the earth, it goes with me. So I might as well put it in these books because it's the best move I've ever made in my career. I've never made money off the records. So I made money off every book that I sold, and I make
That's awesome.
And I'm self-published and everything, you know. So big shout, you know, to me for that. You know, and you know, but Lucio Dutch put me on the right path, man, and I'm not gonna get off this path of this literacy thing, man, because now I'm talking and I'm talking free and I'm letting my emotions come out, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I know how to hold them in sometimes now too, because now, you know, I'm being honest with you, in these last 3 years, I've cried more than I've cried my whole life. I haven't cried as much as I've cried now. So I've been holding in tears my whole life. And Shantae laughed at me every day because she be telling me, because my eye, you know, would be watering, but I'm not crying. And she said, all the tears you holding in.
But it's been cathartic, right? Being able to get all of that out.
Man, like, listen, I mean, it's hard for everybody. So I'm not complaining about what I've been through, you know. Yeah. So what I've been through is what I've been through. I'm going to go through it. I'm going to be all right. That's just the way I live. That's the way I think. That's the way I'm going to just carry it on from here. But, man, sometimes you just sit there and you just have to just let it out. And I encourage people to let it out. And I encourage people to write books, you know. And, like, today I just sat in the house and just was with my brother, my baby brother. And we sat here and we talked, we chop it up, and we laughed and we laughed and we laughed, you know. And that's what life is about. When you sit there with the people you love and have a great laugh and everything, you know, in the midst of times where people say it's so bad. I mean, listen, I never had any, like, I grew up so poor. Listen, me and my brother used to share pants to get through the week. So I don't know about, you know, like, I ain't crying about being broke. I'm going to get money. I'm going to be all right. I can eat. I got food in the refrigerator. I got cars. I got what? I don't have to have a car better than yours. I got one that start when I turn the key.
That's right.
Or push the button. I got to push the button too. I got that. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and if I can't get that, I'm gonna call Uber.
yeah. I got enough. You know what I mean? Like, but we want more. But we've been taught to be greedy and not share information and not share the things that we have. And I've shared my whole way out, but I've just shared with the wrong people. And I'm learning that there's so many good people out here right now that really care about you, and people all across the country that hit me up and be like, V, man, I loved your book. I loved everything. You know, I didn't know. And I said, that's my fault because I didn't say nothing. And I held all of these things in. And now some people don't even believe me when I say, okay, I might have did this or I might have did that. You know what I'm saying? You know I did it. But to them, they think I'm lying. Well, when I'm 50 plus, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, okay, we ain't going to get into that. Hey, believe what you believe. I know what I know. That's that.
That's right. Well, I can't wait for these books to be turned into a movie, at least, you know, to be told a story of your life. And if you had to think of a person who could play you, who would that be and why?
Oh man, who would play me? I don't know. But look, if they was playing me, they'd have had to have a lot of resilience. They got to because the stuff that I've internalized, I found was very toxic, you know, and I can only blame me because nobody's accountable for my actions but me. So it's a lot of perceptions on who I am out there that I don't necessarily agree with. But the way I was living at that time put that in the air. But that was who I was. That was just a perception of who I was because I'm just trying to survive in these streets. And while we're surviving, we damn sure ain't living. You know what I mean? We think we living till you get to a point where you say, damn, I used to do that. You know what I mean? Like, damn, you know, risk your life for that. It ain't worth it.
Yeah.
At the time, you think it's worth it. You think all of these things that you're doing, and then you're trying to, and you walk, hey, me, I smile. I like to show my teeth. So, you know, you can't show your teeth in the street. It's a weakness.
And that's sad. That's true. That is so sad.
So maybe back in the day, I thought I was smiling because I was happy, you know, and I wasn't. I'm finding pictures now where I'm got the mean mug, and I'm like, wow, that ain't me. That's not me. Oh man,
you put on this persona because that was what you was told you had to be and act as.
Yeah, but I always thought I was being myself. But sometimes we are not in control of our facial expressions, and I can't see my face unless I hold a mirror in front of it. So now I'm in the street. I'm something else.
Yeah.
So hey, listen. Like I said, it's a lot of wonderful people out there, and I just can't wait to share my stories with the people that want to hear them, the people that are accepting to it, you know. And if they love my story, cool. If you don't like it, cool. And the books, I haven't got no negative feedback for. I got 2 books out right now: The Symphony and DJ Cool-V Never Sleeps. And that's the story behind the making of that album, Just a Friend. The Diabolical Biz Never Sleeps. So I made the book, The Cutmaster Cool-V Never Sleeps, because it's my part of the story that nobody ever knew about because they don't even identify me with my own work. You know, it's just biz. It's just biz. It's just biz. And I'm on the back of the album cover, but they don't see the back of the album cover. See, if we hang it on the wall, see, I got that one with me and Biz up there hanging. I got the back of the cover hanging because of my front. You ain't gonna see me.
But people who know really the real deal.
Yeah, but it's not up to people to know. It's up for you to tell them. Because wait for somebody to tell my story, it ain't gonna get told.
No.
And it's a lot of people. I didn't even know that telling your story would rub people the wrong way. I didn't know that. And my stuff is positive. So imagine if I was on some malice.
Yeah, being salacious stuff.
Yeah, no, my books are positive. I read my books at kids' schools. You know what I'm saying? So I go read them with the babies. I let them read a paragraph. They read it. They love it. And that's how we do it.
Yeah. But, you know, sometimes people feel guilt for not acknowledging. So when they're reading the portrayal of your life, they're basically saying, you know, I guess they felt like there was a weight for themselves knowing that they hadn't acknowledged the things that you were going through. So
it was because I was quiet and didn't say nothing when they were taking credit for certain things. And listen, they released government papers after 30 years. I mean, listen, it's been over 30 years since we started in the business. I could talk about what happened 30 years ago. Like, I could have talked about it back then, but I wasn't talking. But 30 years later, you'll get mad at me because I told my truth.
Yeah.
It happened the way it happened. You know, your truth is your truth. Yeah, I don't get mad. You tell everybody you did everything. Did it. You did it. Okay.
That's what I call autobiography, because it's about thyself.
Yeah. See, and my books right now are just positive influences in my life. The story, like the albums, I'm going to put out every story of every record I ever made that people like or whatever. You know, I'm going to put those stories out. And then I'm going to come with my memoir. And, you know, hopefully people like it. And
I can't wait, because like I said, I feel like it needs to be the moment of where there is that movie that talks about your life. I mean, of course, there is, you know, the parts of people who played around it, but, you know, there is that moment that needs to be talked about because you don't often hear that. So I feel like because you have this connection with writing down your stuff and, you know, maybe sometimes the visual aspect can be brought about it, but right now we have the books, and I'm glad you are sharing your story with us because, you know, we don't want you to leave without having let us know your journey, because you can inspire so many people as you have been today and letting us know about your life.
Yeah.
So we thank you so much for coming on here. But before we let you go, we always want to get some kind of what your thoughts of in terms of your inspiration to others and your advice to others when it goes into just getting into this business in general. What would you advise them? How would you think in terms of starting out, what they should do first?
Make the music first. Make the music. That was the name of our first single. Make the music with your mouth, Biz. So look, make the music. Once you make the music, everything else will fall into place, because if you're trying to get in this business, and everybody ain't an entertainer. So some people around you could be the manager, some people could be the booking agent, some people could be the lawyer, you know, and if you come up together and everybody goes at it with that passion, you can have a hell of a team. Look at LeBron. It's an inspiration, man. I love when I see that the people that he grew up with and they went to school are the people that he gets money with right now. That's a beautiful thing. How many people could say that? How many people can say that? You get money with the people you grew up with.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's why we can't get money together. People, it's so many ways that we can get money. Why we can't get money together? Why everybody going to try to snatch it all? You know, you can't snatch it all. And see, I'm a DJ. You can't do all the parties because it's still going to be another one. So I do that. So I have a confidence in that maybe nobody's looking at, because it's a place, it's a party everywhere in the world every day.
Yeah.
So if you over here, I'll go over there. And if you over there, I'll go over there. And you go over there, and I'll go over there. That's beautiful. Come on.
That's so great. And that's so great you have that spirit of that, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But we thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with us. We are looking forward to hearing more from you, and looking forward to the book and your memoir and everything that you have coming up. Make sure you all check out DJ Cool-V. He is on SiriusXM radio station and all things you hear on as far as the platform and his DJing, and make sure you follow him on Mr. DJ Cool-V on all social media platforms. And until then, you keep rocking out, because we appreciate you. Go ahead.
Mr. DJ Cool-V on Instagram. DJ Cool-V on I do have a Mr. DJ Cool-V on Facebook. You right. Look, pages on there. I look, I'm correcting you, and you are right. You see that?
But guess what? If they found you on Instagram, they're gonna find you on social media.
Listen. I'm about to say because I'm thinking about them other pages that I got, right? And I'm still like,
that's what happened. You got 4 phones, and that's your problem. You got 4 phones, you get it all mixed up.
I want to say thank you too. You know, it's an honor to have you a part of the show. We've been friends for won't even say how many years, but for a very long time. And I appreciate you coming on our show and telling your journey and inspiring others. I appreciate it.
Hey, if you get inspired by me, listen, more power to you. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Listen, if you got me to come to the schools, I come to schools. I got equipment. We do the outside events for the kids. We do all kinds of things. I do everything. I got sound systems. I do all of that. So, you know, let's get in the community and change the community with this music while we got a chance, while we can change it. Don't wait till you get too old. You can't walk and can't come out the house. Then talk about things ain't changed yet. We got to change it now while we can get out here with the babies, because it's their future that's out there. Listen, I tell everybody now, I'm not speaking for y'all. I'm speaking for me. I've been here longer than I'm going to be here. So you better get what you can get right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But I feel like you'd be the kind of guy that's DJing on top of your walker. Like, come on, y'all, let's get it.
I could do that. But it ain't going to be for 54 more. You know?
I truly appreciate you. We wish you all the best. I always say, I don't say luck. We always wish you the best of faith, and all the blessings that come to you are coming to you in abundance for sure.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Everybody. Thank y'all for having me. You know, I had a good time. It's all
good. I'm glad you did. Well, take care of yourself.
Don't do that. Y'all do the same.
Okay, thank you. Don't leave. We'll talk to you in a second.
And thank you for everyone for joining us this evening. We hope you enjoy listening to DJ Cool-V's story and his journey. Make sure, again, if you want to follow him or support him, to go to his website. He's on social media at Mr. Cool, Keyana put about Mr. DJ Cool-V. Follow him on all social media platforms. So you can make sure you check out his book. Just a passage I wrote just today just has inspired me and want me to read more and find more out about his books and his story as well. So, and just make sure you just support each other, because if nothing else I took away from his journey is that supporting each other, it makes the difference in terms of each your individual successes. And we thank you all so much for joining us. But if you want to also support the show, make sure you cash app Keyana Tennant. That's $, Keyana Tennant. Your donations go towards putting the show together. We have amazing shirts that we put out, and if you are interested in buying one, we are having that open and available for sale as well. And if you know someone who inspires you, or you've been an inspiration to someone, please email us at inspiredbyAnonymous@gmail.com, or follow us on all social media platforms too as well at Inspired by Enonus. But until then, we inspire together. So be well.